Today we're starting on the back. If you bought your wood as a set, it'll probably be about 5 millimeters thick, so a bit over 3/16 of an inch. We're going to bring that down to 3 millimeters at this stage, or a little under 1/8 of an inch. I use a clamp like this to clamp the one half of the back to the workbench, and then with a number 4 plane I take away the bulk of the material. I work methodically, so maybe 20 strokes like this, then flip the back over and do another 20 strokes, and so you get a nice even thickness of your back. Measure with one of these calipers. If you don't have one of those, you're going to have to use your ordinary calipers and measure it as many spots as you can to make sure that it's a nice even 3 millimeters, or a little under 1/8 of an inch at this stage. The back of this guitar is going to look something like this. So we need to join those two halves together, and we're doing that in pretty much the same way as we did the top. This is a bit more difficult because it's a hardwood, and we could afford a little bit of play on the top, and you can press those two together, and there's not much of a problem. There would be if you did that here, because this is a hardwood, and you can be sure it's going to crack open at one time or another. So using a jointer plane, make a really straight center seam, and keep checking with your straight edge. And if you had trouble making that seam on the top with your jointer plane, then maybe you'll want to use the block of wood and sandpaper. You can start with 80 grit and then switch to 120 grit as you get closer to the point where you want to be. When you're happy with your center seam, you can glue the two halves of the back together. I'm going to do it like this. I need some plywood board because it's nice and flat, and it has tape down the middle so the back won't stick to the plywood. I'm also going to put my center strip now. You can do that later, and so you can join them like this now, and then later cut a channel and then put in a center strip. I'm going to do it now. I think the modern wood glues are good enough to hold all that together. When the back is joined, you can do two things. You can thickness it now or bring it closer to its final thickness now, or you can do that later and cut out the shape first. The advantage of thicknessing now is that you have more space to clamp your back to the workbench. At this stage I don't use my plane anymore, but I use scraper blade and sandpaper. I'm going to cut out the shape first, so there's less wood to remove later. This back is very close to its final thickness. Typically backs range from 1.9 millimeters to 2.5 millimeters, so that's what was it, 0.075 inch to about 1/10 of an inch. The stiffer and harder woods being the thinner ones, and the soft woods being the thicker ones.